r/AskReddit asks, what's it like being an extrovert? Friend of mine is extroverted. He has a constant need to socialize and go out. When he's in with nothing to do, I notice that he gets sleepy, bored, or antsy. I joke with him that his apartment is only for sleeping and showering. I want to add that as extroverted as I am, I do love my alone time. I need it, actually, so I can rebalance. Still, I love connecting with people and socializing. I smile at people wherever I go and usually end up talking to a random stranger wherever I am. My man laughs at this because he's introverted, but that's what drew him to me. Says I'm the friendliest person he knows. It's just like playing an RPG. Talk to everyone and you'll gain knowledge, items, and resources. This seems like an introvert's view of an extrovert. ITT, people thinking their social anxiety makes them an introvert. No. Stop doing that, Reddit. Stop it. We can talk to people just fine. We don't quake in fear at the thought of ordering a meal. We don't hate people and want to spend every waking moment at home. The only damn thing that makes us introverts is that we lose energy from social interactions. After a time we prefer to hang out in smaller groups or alone to unwind and recharge for the next occasion we leave the house. Thank you. You can be an extroverted antisocial person or a social introvert, etc. It really doesn't depend on social ability. Imagine being on a constant energy drain whenever you're alone. The more time you're alone, the more energy is wasted. So, in order to not feel out of it and exhausted, you go steal energy from others. That's how I describe what it's like to be an extroverted. I think I get the concept, but I have no idea how that'd feel. I feel suffocated by lots of people. If you know what it feels like to steal energy from others, imagine what it feels like to be stolen from. From everyone else's perspective, I just end up staying in my room all day because I'm incredibly lazy. Most of it's actually that I'm charging. As though my room were a docking port for when I'm idle. Most introverts have a better social battery life than I do, so I tend to stay indoors a whole lot. Extraversion-introversion duality is mostly pseudoscience. Vast majority of people are somewhere in the middle and have both extraversion and introversion tendencies depending on context. Binaries help give people a context and comfort. You can translate I'm introvert to, I'm generally more introvert than extrovert. I think people intuitively understand this. Though there is a fair amount of self-labeling for self-esteem that's not going to go away anytime soon. I'm a Infi, I'm a Taurus, that type of thing. I mean TBH, it's more fun having a lot of introverted friends than extroverted acquaintances, but sometimes PPL think I'm too loud and all the basic PPL in my school who are friends with every other basic person in the city think I'm quiet, which is funny. I'm very extrovert but I'm also quite an anxious person. People often think these two things don't go hand in hand, which is annoying. Introverts don't have the monopoly on anxiety. I do binge on other people quite a lot, so I find it really difficult to spend time alone, until I completely burn out, then I have to be alone for a couple of days. I love and crave company and socializing, probably not great for my liver kidney as I do a lot of partying, pub and clubbing. On the whole I can't imagine life is that different. Extroverts and introverts just have different ways of coping with the same issues. Introversion isn't some inherent trait like people make it out to be. In some social environments I am introverted, in others I am extroverted. And amp. Number X200B, and honestly being extroverted isn't as great as I think a lot of self-pitying introverts make it out to be. It often requires effort to keep conversations going and motivation to organize events together with people, even when you receive rejections regularly. There are people I would love to spend more time with, and when they don't want to it hurts. Honestly, it's not that great. I mean, yeah, you can socialize well, but you get lonely really easily. Yay, this is the problem, a real danger in attention deficit issues. I can tell you what it's like being an extrovert with autism. You constantly want to engage with people because you get restless and long for external input when you're alone, but you also get exhausted from conversations and having to be social. So then you go home and think, I'm gonna just chill by myself to recover from this event, and within 15 minutes you're on Discord, Reddit, or on the phone with your mother. It's a paradox. I don't know what to say, like it's just normal life. As an extrovert, I can just go and make friends easily. It feels great to have friends everywhere I go. So yeah, it feels great. As an extrovert, I suffer from the lack of socialization. It makes me very uneasy and anxiety-ridden, and it's nearly always there. I have this pressure internally to constantly bounce from person to person to talk to, and the interesting part is, when someone doesn't return my interest for conversation, I get very upset. And there is a lot of drama as a result of talking to so many people. However, I typically have a really great time with it, but it isn't all peaceful and wonderful lol. Literally rely on social interactions to avoid getting trapped in my own thoughts and ending up getting down for no reason, so by constantly talking to people it helps a lot by distracting me from diving too deep in my own thoughts. This should be higher. Basically, I get agitated when I don't talk to anyone all day. Making conversation is easy because 1, I'm not that afraid to share parts of my life and my thoughts, and 2, I'm naturally curious and honestly want to know about the other person. I also find that I prefer introverted close friends because I feel less pressure to be so bubbly, and can just relax more around them. Big misconception is that extroverts are happy about being extroverts. I used to have a very extroverted personality, and often I would catch myself butting in where I wasn't wanted, spouting things I really didn't need to, etc. I've started to balance out as I've gotten older, but I still get anxiety thinking back to some of those times. It's like a bluff. Everyone thinks you're that antisocial, awkward, cool dude, while you were just not giving any fuck to them and minding your own business. Basically a lot like one of the top comments here. My apartment is basically a place for me to sleep and shower, and some months I'm barely there on any weekends. If I do end up there alone though for a weekend, it is one of the longest and most draining things ever. It gets to the point where it could be 11 p.m. on a Sunday night and I'm in bed, but if a friend texts or calls with the promise of some sort of interaction, I will screw up my sleep schedule just to make it happen. When I was an extrovert, I could get anyone to put their complete trust in me, and no one thought I could do anything wrong. Looking back, it was weird. It's great. Sometimes, I get super uncomfortable when I'm not the center of attention, and when I'm with friends or small groups I thrive because it's easy to get people laughing and paying attention to me and stuff, but I get super uncomfortable in like big parties, and I'm the guy at frat parties who looks lost and just spaces out. So with how I am as an extrovert, being alone is alright. I don't do much, I just like draw or make YouTube videos and music. Being with a group of 125 is perfect because I get validation that I'm like something or whatever. And then being in larger groups makes me anxious. At work, everyone gets lunch or brings their lunch, and 90% of the time, they all eat together in the kitchen or on the patio outside, while 95% of the time, I eat at my desk with my headphones on watching something on YouTube lol. Being an extrovert is nice. You are very social. You love talking with your colleagues, classmates, teachers, cashiers, random grandpas on the bench, and etc. You don't get tired of that, and you don't have to force yourself. The conversation just flows, and you enjoy it.